recording.
All right, let's go. Do I hit the red button?
Yes.
Yes, okay, just turn a little bit.
We'll look for that. The time being 5:33, I'll call to order the Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners meeting of July 13th, 2021. Our first item, he's not here yet, so we'll skip right over that for now. Next is public comment, members of the district, employees of the district. We do have a member of the public.
Oh. So, what is the status of the building committee?
That will be discussed later, but we have some people, we're going to review them and have them next month.
Have what next month?
Get them together. There'll be notices going out. We'll be going out, letting them know. For next month, for next week.
Are you going to reach out to people that are on the committee?
Did we reach out? We got people, we got names of people. We haven't reviewed it yet. It's later on down the agenda.
I forgot the names at the office.
Oh, okay. She didn't bring the names with us at the office. That's okay. Is there anyone that can bring it over?
There was nobody there.
They just come back with the term.
They did?
Yes, you come back.
Okay.
Do we roughly know how many names? I know it's further.
I don't know. She has.
I guess my real question is, are you looking for an all-new committee? Are you going to have the people who are on the committee that have done the work remain?
Well, there's some people that won't be interested in going on, and there's some people that are interested in going on. So we have to compile and gel those two things together. Those two forces. We've had some people that have expressed interest that were not on the committee, and then we have some people that were on the committee that have expressed interest.
And some that will not do it again.
I understand that, but I think it would make perfect sense to have anyone who will stay, have them stay.
Done a lot of work.
I mean, does that not make sense?
It does, absolutely.
So those people that you're going to be reaching out to will include myself, is where I'm going.
Yes.
You submitted your name, right? Because you told me early on that you wanted to,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that was one of the things I passed up.
I just don't want to find out that, because I saw on the district, I think it was on the website
Yeah, it
or
was
somewhere,
on the, yeah.
that you're looking for letters.
Yeah.
Well, you might need a letter from someone who's not done it yet, but, hey, how are you?
There's a,
There he is.
But why would you need a want or desire letter from someone who's already done it and done the work?
No, but
So,
if
here I'm telling you, I'm interested, we did the work, I want to stay,
Got it.
and I know Kevin Kate does as well.
Yes.
Yep.
So these guys are.
I know he emailed us. So he's
Right.
emailed
He did.
a while ago.
They need to know precisely where to go.
Could you just send an email?
they're going to bring all the
Just send an email to us as well, just so there's something in writing.
Okay, to who?
Info, it goes to her, but info.
Yeah.
That way-
Or whatever address
Tnfd.
that or something.
Sure.
That way it's in writing that
You know, I
you.
don't know if it's us that owns the property.
Does that help?
Does. I've,
It's actually on the
Absolutely,
bridge.
I mean, I was.
Is it right on the bridge?
Right on the bridge.
I'm having a hard time
Email
picturing
on
that,
it,
so.
So if you have to go over
Yeah,
the
then
bridge,
put it in
there's
writing
a
that way.
channel that goes to like the gate or
Anything else on the
gatehouse or
public?
whatever that is. On the
Good
road.
for them.
All right.
If you have from
Let's do that.
Tilton heading into
Do that.
Belmont,
Yep.
on the right-hand side, the first
Anything
the
from
first
the
bridge,
deputy?
it's where the channel goes through
All right.
to the escape
Haven't
house.
seen it. Talk about
And
prison. I
there's
don't know.
another-
Yeah, that's right.
That's why you weren't here last month. I don't know. All right.
I'm
Correspondence? Do
stuck
we
there,
have any correspondence?
just the correspondence
take
has
some
been
pictures.
going back and forth between the
Can you
attorney.
just send them
Okay.
to email?
All right.
And
So,
you've all received copies of all of that,
Yes.
so,
well, Matt, Mr. Fenimore showed up.
yes.
So, we're going to go into a non-public session for now.
Do we have a rough idea how long, just out of respect for, so he knows?
5 or 6 hours.
See you guys.
No.
20 minutes, you think?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
No, it doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
No.
That was my interest in it.
Just
so-
out of respect, if you,
So I'll just go,
you can sit in your truck for 20 minutes and then come back.
You want us to text you when we
and
come
go get something to eat.
Do you want to be notified when we're done?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sure. I got my answer that I'm gonna be on the committee as long as I write a letter.
Yeah, just email.
Oh, write an email.
Yep.
A polite email.
Do you have the,
I do,
you have that?
I do.
All right.
I'll send you I need to.
Your truck is leaking a lot of water.
Am I supposed to be in?
Come back?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a full head of water in there.
Yeah, because the tailgate shuts it. Don't let it out, so it's gonna get-
All right. What's today's date?
Today's the
13th.
13.
It's July, right?
Yes.
Normally going to see my psychiatrist is a one-on-one thing, but I get all sad when I was a small child. Parents wouldn't let me have a dog.
All right, so we're gonna end, I'll make a motion to enter non-public session under RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, C. Matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant.
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Made by me. Roll call vote. Paul Ozier.
Yes.
John Silly.
Yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes. Stop the
Recorders.
recorder. Stop the video. Do I have to hit stop?
Just hit stop.
Okay, stop. Okay,
There you go.
the time being 6:16. I make a motion to return to public session.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote. Paul Ozier.
Yes.
John Silly.
Yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes. That passed. Stop the recorder. We did that. Public session reconvene at 6:17. I'll make a motion to seal these minutes.
Is there a need to? No names were set
No,
at all.
no, so, okay, no motion. So don't do that. These minutes recorded. There you go.
That was good and didn't say names.
No. All right. So Mr. Finnemore is done. We've done public comment, members of the district, employees of the district. We did that. Correspondence has been
Discuss.
discussed. That was through attorney. Chief's report. Oh, you right?
Yeah, that was chair on table, not chair on foot.
Leg and shin. All right, I sent the chief's report to you folks before I went on vacation. Do you have any questions specifically on the report?
On the report, no.
I didn't see like 40 overlapping. It would be more than 23%, but I guess not.
That's at 179, I think, or 180.
Yeah, it was like 175, I think, but it just seems like it should be higher in my head, because I'm not good at math, so
You have to learn some calculator.
I didn't pull the calculator.
No, that would be about right.
The ambulance revenue, are we up from last year or down?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I know I looked it up, but I forgot to write it down. I think we're up over at the same time last year, but I can't guarantee that. But I will look that up for you and I'll send it out.
So,
You want me to look now, Chief?
You probably can, can't you? You just go click last year, this year.
Well, this year is on the report,
Yep.
so all I have to do is look at last year.
Yep.
any big repairs that we should be nervous about? I
Well,
mean, I see some things that are 100%, 300%, but I look and I'm like, oh, well,
so
it's car 3.
since I developed this report, the pump on engine 1 failed again. But
Is that the first one to go, or is that the second one to go? I always forget.
the first one to leave, that's leaving in October. Or,
Engine one?
yeah. It turned out there was a faulty valve within it. They repaired the valve and now the pump's working again. Additionally, engine 3 has an electrical problem where the emergency lights only work on the left side of the truck, none of them on the right side of the truck. We think that's a ground problem somewhere. And so that's getting looked at. Besides that, the PTO generator is not working. I think there's a bypass valve in there that Matt Gilman's working on with the company that works on the PTO generator. Also, the air compressor needs to be replaced for the brakes and all that stuff. Waiting for parts for that. And the battery boxes have finally rusted out. And
So it's out of service right now?
yeah.
Just with some of those things you're saying, I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you can't drive to emergency without full lights on both sides, and now you're talking the air brakes. I mean,
We're waiting for parts.
yeah, that's a
So
done deal.
Deputy Joubert was going to call the place today to see where they were with parts, to see where we were with getting that truck back. And engine 1 failed its safety inspection because there's a hole in the muffler, but the hole in the muffler can be repaired. We had to bring it back. We wanted something in service. It wasn't a big hole. Once we get engine 3 fixed, we'll send engine 1 back to get the muffler fixed. And then we should be good to go.
Do you have an estimated arrival date, or is it on track for the replacement
It's
coming in?
still on track.
I mean, how much is this repairs gonna cost?
So,
I mean, on something, especially on something that we're,
so on engine
4
1,
months from getting rid of.
we're doing as bare minimum as possible to keep that thing running. Obviously, we need the pump to work or it's useless. The parts were like $15, but so it's the labor on engine 1 that's going to be, probably a few $100s. Engine 3, I don't know what the parts are going to be on that, or labor yet.
So out of curiosity, if it's a faulty valve, is it actually leaking and taking the pump out, or if you had it left the valve closed, you just can't use that line?
No, it was prohibiting the tank water from reaching the pump.
Okay. So tank to pump.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's a critical valve. I was just thinking, if it was a discharge and we still had enough discharges to meet the apparatus response, could we just walk out that one discharge valve? But yeah, tank to pump is, that's a critical valve.
Yeah, no water, no water.
So, just trying to see if there's ways to. I do have a question or some comments about budget. I'm not sure where you want to fit it into the meeting.
About what?
With all the potential legal costs we have and potential settlements if we lose and all that, how do we want to be handling the budget this year? I mean, somehow we got to come up with that money, so we really need, talking to the commissioners, is there a way we can start to start looking at a priority list on dollars?
So I've been already doing that.
Okay.
Like the siding at the rear of the fire station, is a lot of it's missing from the windstorm. I told the names, just screw it down, what we have there, next year we'll look at repairing.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought that to my attention. We are in the middle of the project for the bathroom at Park Street,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to finish that.
Yeah, you got the concrete cut, you got
So I put in for flooring for the bathroom at Center Street. We're probably going to save that till next year, or the end of the year, see how things go. Things like that. We're just paring down.
Yeah.
Very cautious of who I send to schools and what schools
Right.
and things like that.
I mean, that's the concern I have, is that a lot of those things that are smaller pots of money, of 5,000, 6,000 or something like that. I mean, if
A
this,
few of those add up, and now you're
Yes,
talking
but
20,000.
now we're talking legal fees at minimum, unless that's put onto another entity.
What line is
Legal fees,
Well, and remember, Pat Constantino tried to cover that during
Yep.
the annual meeting.
Yep.
That, hey, look, you're headed for you know, you probably ought to put something aside just in case for this.
But even that, I have a feeling that we would shoot way beyond this year with all the usage of the legal fee.
Fortunately, if we're going to overexpend the budget, we do have the ability to apply to DRA.
Yes,
Because these are unexpected expenses that we have no control over.
right, from the unassigned,
From the unassigned fund balance.
right, as the
Right.
last
Right.
option,
And
but,
we also have the contingency fund that was voted in this year.
It's only 25,000, right?
Yeah,
It's
but
in that 20.
it's in that, yeah.
That might
That
do
might
it.
cover
That might do
it
it.
might, but if for some reason a settlement goes against us, then we could be looking at 75, 80,000, 126,000.
Well,
We'd have to.
I mean,
We'd have to go to DRA.
I know that we can't squeeze that out of the budget, but the minimum that we can go to DRA on, if we can, and that's why really high prioritizing anything that isn't critical this year, because this year we got into a situation where the budget was behind from the start, just because of this potential. I mean, who knows, if it goes to court and comes out an entirely different way, then great, we'll have gravy at the end of the year that we'll be able to turn back to the taxpayers, but
well, I don't know how to say what I want to say. Because I don't know, okay, if we win, we still have to pay $100-and-something thousand, right?
No,
because we don't have a contract with them.
Okay.
so there's nothing this year, barring a court judgment, that in fact, we can't pay the water district anything for pressurized hydrant service.
Nothing.
Because the district voted no.
Right.
No means no.
Right.
So we cannot pay them barring a court order.
Right. We had a
So-
special meeting and all that.
Yes,
Right.
we can call a special meeting to reconvene, and that would be up to the commissioners to do that.
However,
We still have to negotiate with the water district and all that.
well, not only that, but if you call a special meeting, 50% of the registered voters
Of the district
of the district
have to attend.
have to attend. That's not 50% of the
Yeah.
voters that show up.
Which
It's,
we would never get.
no.
But
Like,
the attorney said the judge may waive that.
Yeah, I read some of the stuff from the legal portion.
Wow.
Because how many registered voters are between the two towns?
A lot.
6,000 or so.
Well, okay, yeah, where are we gonna put 3,000 people?
Exactly.
Right.
That's why it would be just easier to wait
Social
until the next
distance.
district meeting.
Right. And
It
we're
would
doing
be-
everything to minimize expenses of the pressurized hydrant system, absolutely. It's just making sure that we have the tank fill left in the station, which I saw as part of their discussion.
I've seen the focus on that a lot, the hearing that with Judge O'Neill.
So,
Back,
so one of the things that maybe and I'm gonna ask you guys, but I would pass it through the attorney. They're suggesting that we can turn the 2-inch fill lines into domestic service lines. I seem to,
They're 3-inch fill.
the water pipe is a 2-inch pipe. It's an 1.5 meter, so it's actually, that's how they measure it, by the meter size, according to their tariff. But the pipe size is 2 inches.
Okay.
Would you guys be amenable to us applying to asking the water district to turn those fill lines into domestic lines?
Yes, from what I read of it, and that's one of the things I was going to bring up, because then it would make that
Hey, how you doing today?
independent of the hydrants, and it would be a domestic line at 2-inch, even though they have 3-inch domestic as one of their options in their billing. That's that's the frustrating part, is that they do have billing for 3-inch.
Yeah.
But if that's a meet in the middle where with a 2-inch filling, it will take a little bit longer to fill.
Would you save that for strategy later on?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
I would,
I don't know.
if it's appropriate, we can send them a letter, but I would go through the attorney to make
Yes.
sure
I
that.
think if you push the button inside to go up, the light comes on.
There's a light.
Okay, but I
There's
didn't find the
there's a
button
light switch.
Oh,
inside.
light there.
There's a light switch here. Tom, reach around.
Right here. Here you go, Tom.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, when I read that, the thing you sent, that I saw the mentioning of the 2-inch, and that was a considered option. If we, a 2-inch fill, I mean, it'll just take longer to fill the engine, but
Well, it would take no longer than what we already have. That's what we have currently.
you choke down.
We've never had more than a 2-inch supply line coming
Oh, I thought it was a
Through-
3-inch coming in.
in. No, 2-inch line through an 1.5 meter.
Do you have a separate one coming off the hydrant system that we use for the trucks?
That's what we use. So
What
there's,
is this 3-inch discussion we've been having all along then?
there's no such thing as we don't have a 3-inch supply line. It's 2-inch pipe
That-
going through an 1.5 meter.
So, yeah,
So the way it comes in the fire station, we have a 2-inch line. It's divided in a T. One T turns into 3/4 inch. It's actually 1-inch pipe that goes through a 3/4 inch meter. The other part is a 2-inch line that goes through an 1.5 inch meter. And the 1.5 after the 1.5 meter, that's what we use to fill the trucks. The 3/4 line goes to the rest of the building for flushing the toilets and washing your hands at the kitchen sink and stuff like that.
So yeah, the simple answer is make a 2-inch a domestic line.
Yeah.
Take it off the hydrant bill, because that's where it's becoming an issue, is that it's being used as part of the hydrant bill for leverage.
Well, we should have 3 separate bills. We should have one for domestic water at Center Street, one for domestic water
Yeah.
at Park Street, and one for hydrants.
Yes.
That's how I thought it was.
That's what I've been trying to say all
Yes,
along.
no, I agree with you, and that's been the whole issue, but the Park Street
Water bill
has been
combines
tied
everything
with the
into one.
hydrant, because that's what's the holding to
Well,
the
that's-
fire.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's why they're going after Park Street, is because
Correct.
they see it as one.
The hydrant, right, so no,
Well, they see
I'm not,
everything as one, yeah.
I'm not opposed to this legal, going to the lawyers and say, make that 2-inch into a domestic line, charge us for the domestic line, because yeah, if we're using the water appropriately, definitely bill us for it, and then they would have a bill for a 2-inch fill. What do you have at Center Street?
2-inch bill, same, they're both the same in both places.
But they just have it, it's just that it's on the physical bill for the hydrant, so now.
Right, to trap into the
when-
hydrants.
When they send us a bill for
Right, that's why they don't want to break it separate.
$50,000,
They don't want to
and
break
we
it out
can't pay
separate.
it, they go to shut the water off over there.
Right. Yeah, I'm
Am I
not,
wrong? Is
I-
that?
I would make a motion for the chief to talk with the lawyers about requesting the fills at the station to become domestic fill lines, independent of the hydrants.
Yes, independent of, the hydrant should be a separate bill.
It should. I totally agree.
It shouldn't be, it actually, it shouldn't be metered or whatever, it's a fee or whatever, I don't know how to.
I'll second your motion, because I thought that's how it was all, so shame on me.
What do you think? You had some thought going on.
Yeah.
You thought that what?
No, that's, sounds great.
All right, so I guess do we make a motion?
I made a motion.
All right, I seconded it, so all those in favor, any more discussion?
So what you're gonna do is see a lawyer first.
Talk to the lawyer,
See
send
what
an
it is.
I'll talk to him,
Yeah.
email him, say we want the 2-inch and the 3/4 inch as domestic bills for each station, and we want to separate the fire hydrants from all of it, it's be a separate bill. And if you guys want to say you still want to meet with the water district to try and negotiate, that's fine
I
too,
think
but
we-
like we're in the middle of a court thing right now too, so I
Do
don't know.
we show any signs of ever paying a domestic water bill?
Oh, yes, we pay the domestic water bill every quarter.
We pay the domestic water, it's
Right.
two separate.
Yeah.
It's one account here and one account over there, but it also includes
The hydrant.
the hydrant.
Park
so-
Street account
So we
includes the
we
fire hydrants.
slightly underpay that part of the bill every month.
Yeah, by about $50,000.
Yeah. So that.
Right.
If that bill's $50,500, $500 is for domestic water.
No, it's-
Yeah.
It's not even that. It's
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
$50 domestic water.
over there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, any other discussion?
Nope, I'm all set.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Take
Okay.
care of that.
So back to the apparatus and equipment fund, your question, Paul. We are $18,201.52 ahead of last year at this time.
Good.
And we're going, that was the end of June, which is the chief's report.
Yeah.
Now, that's kind of weird. just, I don't know if it's just a comment, but like, I thought last year we had a lot of ambulance calls because of COVID. But it seems like now we're actually getting more ambulance calls because we have more people in the area maybe.
When we have we're getting 2 ambulances that we can transport with now.
Right.
And,
More frequently.
no,
Right.
no.
That's the big difference, is before you were
No,
relying
and
on.
that's that was the other side of it, is we're getting to those. Because you see here, we received 4, we transferred 2.
That brings me to my other question, and there again, you said mutual aid, and we received 4 mutual aid ambulance response,
We responded to 2.
and we responded, yeah. And is that, I just want to make sure.
So we had a mutual aid ambulance come here 4 times. Of those 4 times, only 2 of them, 2 times was a transport needed. So the other 2 times, they were canceled or treated and released or whatever.
Okay, and that brings to my other question is, when we have a call at the veterans, I'm going to use the veterans home because it's easy to do it that way.
Sure.
If we have a call at the veterans home, they need to transport somebody to Franklin. Is that something we do? I know years ago they used to have a private company do that. I mean, what that's doing, if they need somebody to transport, we're not in the transporting business. We're into helping people and transporting them. I don't think something like that, if it's not an emergency, then why are we transporting?
So the Veterans Home does have a contract with a private ambulance service.
Okay?
It seems they only call us when it's an emergency.
It's
Like
okay,
a
and
cardiac arrest
and I understand, that's
or
great.
something like
Yeah,
that.
and I understand that you're right. I just don't want to I don't feel as though we should be in transport business if it's not an emergency. I guess that's.
For routine transport versus
Yeah.
emergent transport.
Yeah, like if they need to transport somebody from the Veterans Home to Franklin Hospital for their radiation treatment or something like that, we don't do that. The private ambulances do
Or if
that.
someone falls down and breaks their leg.
Well, we probably transport.
That's an emergency.
That's an emergency, we transport.
Like I said, I'm very adamant about transporting people to, there again, we've done it to Hanover and Concord, and it's not an emergency.
Well, we go to Concord all the time now. It's almost.
Because it's an emergency. All I'm saying is I don't want to transport somebody there because they have to go from Franklin to Concord.
Interfacility transfer.
Yeah.
You want to stay out of that business.
We're not in the business to do that. People see that, and it just doesn't look good for us.
Well, sometimes there's a situation that comes up that they have to.
It should be last, there's
should
a
be
lot of
last.
options out there that should be exhausted first, and unfortunately, to what Paul's saying, sometimes the hospitals will sometimes go the least effort transport.
We have a company right here in town that transport. And it seems to me they have a fair amount of people up there that do the transport. And when we ask for more people, because we do this here, it does reflect on that. People pick it up. And you know who I'm talking about. People like that pick it up. It's not only him, there's other people that pick that up. And you're going to get caught one of these times, and it just doesn't look good.
But if it's like 1% of our calls overall or something like that, there is going to be a percentage of it.
And I'm sure there is.
It has to be the absolute minimum, and yes, the focus from the operational side, guidance is minimize absolutely
You have
interfacility
no
transfers
idea
and
how
things.
many times I talk to the guys that are taking these calls,
Yep.
to grill the caller about, did they follow the procedure? Did they call these folks? Did they call these folks?
Right,
Did
because
they
there is
call
a
these
tree that
folks?
they're supposed to call down first, and then it's supposed to go to the local,
It's not
supposed to.
Not supposed to go from here, to straight to Tilton. It's supposed to
Oh, while you guys
So,
are coming in, can you
ambulance-
pick up and go at the same time? And
pick up some eggs for us.
Right.
That's the same thing.
absolutely, I mean, I totally agree with you that we have to be at
Yeah.
the appropriate location on the tree.
And I drill that into them, because you talk to me about this all the time, so in turn, what do they say about stuff flowing downhill?
And when they've made the mistake a few times
Okay.
in the past, they get reprimanded.
Okay.
Tim gets right on. Yep.
Okay, and the only other one I got to bring up is There are a lot of second calls here. We've handled pretty much all of them, I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice. It's
Yeah.
nice.
So that's showing a benefit to
It's a
the,
benefit, yeah.
With, adding those 4 additional folks is, for response times to those second and third and fourth calls, night and day. Getting that second ambulance out the door, night and day.
Wasn't there I don't know if it was June or July, but wasn't there a time you had 5 calls at once?
Yes. And we ended up handling them all.
I thought that was pretty
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think, maybe it was in July, because I don't see 4th or greater here.
no, I didn't see any fourth on this one.
No, but there was a time recently where.
It was
like-
probably
It
June.
was like lunchtime. No, I think it was this,
Oh.
maybe it was like right at the
Okay.
crossover, I don't know.
Well,
I don't
what you
remember
see in
seeing
here is
fourth.
June, you don't
Yeah,
see the July.
no, but
Okay,
I'm just saying,
I'm sorry,
maybe it was
yeah.
in July. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did have 1 or 2 operational questions. The engine is still going to a lot of calls, or?
Well, it depends upon what.
I know it depends on the type of call. Is there ways to keep focusing on reducing how much that goes? I mean, maybe send the captain on the ambulance and he can decide if he needs more power once the ambulance gets there or something?
Well, I try
Just-
not to, I try to keep it 2 and 2. So
Yeah.
2 guys go on the ambulance, and if it's like a respiratory arrest or something like that, the engine follows with 2 guys.
Yeah.
And that way, they can get things squared away. If we get another medical call, they can go and get the other ambulance and go to that call, or somebody at the, like, one of our call guys that come in on any call
Can't bring the ambulance.
can
to
bring
work.
the ambulance,
Yeah.
and if we know that by looking at the IRI generally,
Yeah.
Wayne's there, he can bring the ambulance to the call, the engine will
Yeah.
go to that second call, and then
Yeah.
he'll drive the engine back. That's what's been going on,
Okay.
basically.
Just trying to still minimize those engines as much, because they're old. They're old, they're worn down, and trying to minimize as much road time as we can, if we can.
Well, by the same token, let's get in good habits and let's save the new ones that are coming,
Yes.
you know.
Exactly, yeah, no, that's why it was more of an operational to you. I had one other, but it slipped my mind.
I think somebody was in my office, I don't know if it was you or you, and Franklin was doing a transport from Franklin Hospital to Concord. And I says, see, I want to make sure you know that's not us doing it all the
I
time.
heard it.
Okay, it wasn't me.
Maybe it was you.
I heard it.
I don't get upstairs into the central station much, so.
No, I weren't either, but somebody pointed it out.
I mean, here it only says the engine responded 27 times.
Yep. There's been a few times where I've noticed that I just wanted to ask the question.
The problem is you don't know what's gonna, when the phone rings or
Yeah.
buzzer goes off, whatever they call it.
Uh,
You don't know what you're gonna get.
I'm fully aware, I just,
When I wake up in the morning. What do I get?
I was, fire preventions, fire preventions, are we trying to get the duty shifts now that COVID's done, to get them back out there to take some of the heat off of Deputy Joubert?
So right now, most of the fire prevention stuff is commercial, which
All right.
he's really the one to handle that.
Okay. Yeah, I read through that, and I just know that part of their fire officer training and stuff, they should be able to do basic code enforcement
Yep.
and things like that. I saw that you covered down on a couple of them, but we just need to, we have him doing so many other things too that,
That's part of my discussion later.
They covered 2 inspections this week that I know of.
oh, this week, okay,
This
so it would
week,
have
yeah.
been in the report, because I saw
Right,
the
it's
chief
not
had
in-
2, but,
It's this month that,
Excellent.
they've been able to start getting,
yeah.
it's not happening often, but
Anything. I respect last year's because of COVID, you want minimal personnel exposure. That was a valid reason, but right now, while it's not an if we can take some of that.
20% of his inspections last month were Planet Honda.
It's nice having the same person going back
Yeah.
rather than change up a different personality every time they come in.
Just counted, 10 out of 50
Yep.
are Planet Honda, and that's open now, so that should cut down.
So, Any other questions on that before I move on?
I'm good with a lot of the other stuff.
All right, the only other change since I've written this is, we have another firefighter that's leaving us. James Frangelli, Badger. He's
I know.
taking a position in Molten Borough, and his last day with us is the 25th of this month, so.
Was he one of the recent
No,
safers?
no.
He's been around for a while? Okay.
A couple of years.
Okay.
2 or 3
As a
years.
full-timer? Okay.
Yeah,
Did we didn't put him through school or anything like that?
No, he came fully trained.
Okay.
so.
Is he moving over that way or just because?
He
of
lives
the pay?
over there.
Oh, okay. If he's closer to where he lives, then,
Yeah.
He's got a family farm there. And
yeah. I mean, I'd look at,
Is he
obviously,
full-time?
pay is a better
Yeah,
pay or
it's
something,
better
but also
going
closer to
to-
home is another,
Yeah.
can't.
He's
Oh.
been with us 2 years.
I'd like to make a motion that we thank him for his time with us. Appreciate it. I can understand wanting to be closer to home, so.
So, we're writing 2 guys on Monday that were in the last process to see, doing ride time to see if it would be appropriate for a chief's interview or not, to replace him.
You already moved 2 safer grant people up to full-time.
Well, this will be the second one.
Okay, all right, so one of the safer has already moved, transitioned all the way.
Travis Gosine
Yep.
has moved in when Nick Baker left.
Okay,
Now, Badger's leaving, Ryan Pilo will move up into a non-safer spot, into a regular position. And we're trying out 2 candidates on Monday to see if they're worthy of a chief's interview or not.
for the safer.
For the
Vacancy.
vacancy that's created by Badger.
Okay,
And the other guys moving up.
so currently we have 2 safer vacancies or 1?
We don't have anything right now because Badger is still officially here until the 25th. We're trying to head it off at the pass.
Okay, all right.
Trying to make it so there's not gonna be
A last in
A
service.
long,
an overtime increase or anything
Okay.
like that.
Now this, when you hire somebody falls into the safer grant, I guess, when they move up, that takes them out of that spot.
takes them out of the safer and puts them in
So,
place.
so the new person comes in, understands,
Yes.
okay,
Yes. They get moved out of the danger zone
So
and,
that,
you know,
they still might have the job after
Yeah.
4 years.
exactly.
what's the notice, if you will, that a firefighter has to, like, traditionally get? Is it 2 weeks? Is it
It's
30
traditionally
days?
2 weeks. If you'll notice, if you read our personnel policy manuals, it's, every one of our employees are, except for me, is a tenant at will. I mean, not a tenant, an employee at will. I'm the only one with a contract.
Now, do we, do you get so in the police world, when someone is going from town A to town B, the town they're going to can look at their records. Do you have that in the fire world?
No.
You don't have, so you don't know if there's, okay, just curious. Just interesting.
What we do is we ask their references, we look at their previous employment, we call their previous employers,
Right.
let the employers tell us what they will. Legally, most of them say, yes, they worked here.
No,
Because
that's it.
if they say anything more,
Yeah,
they
they
can
can't.
put them up for a libelous situation. So yes, they worked there from this date to this date.
They just verify. basically.
Yes, it's verification.
He
of
was a
employment.
captain, he worked here from January of 1997 until now.
Yes.
Which will
That's
answer
on the
this question.
front, that's going through the front door. The fire service in New Hampshire is a small community.
Oh.
There are many back doors that,
I've learned that on the police.
so,
And you don't even have to ask.
No.
You just find out.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Just what you
check
said.
out social
They
media.
know before you know.
Things like
Yes,
that, and,
totally.
Oh,
And
I think they gave a telephone.
people will say, oh, I hear so-and-so is applying for your job. Well, let me tell you something.
You know that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
So,
I do.
most of the, I'd say all the folks that we hire are pretty well vetted.
You had a motion.
I did have a motion to thank him for our service.
Jim Trinelli.
Yep.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And I did have another question on this, training obligations where you brought this up. So, because the Safer Grant people are only required to be EMT basic and level 2, do we have anything in our personnel manual that if we're sending you off to a captain's career course or whatever the next level, is there like a contract obligation that they're going to stay with us, or do we have anything like that saying?
The only course that we require a contract where there's some type of reciprocation would be if we send somebody to medic school.
Okay. Yeah, because that's a one-year
It's been
course.
here for a while,
Okay.
because we've gotten burned a couple times on it.
Right, because as soon as someone gets a paramedic, they can sell it elsewhere, and so, okay. So we do have an obligatory or a fine or a buyout or something if they do.
Yeah, so the cost of what it cost us to go to medic school,
Okay.
there's a 5-year repayment period from the time they get their provided license.
Okay,
If they leave before that 5 years up, it's prorated their payment back, so.
okay.
Yeah, it's been in there for a while.
All right, just want to make sure because there's
That's
some of
like the
those,
first thing I did when I became chief.
Yeah.
I just worry because like the Safer grants, because now we're going to be filling another Safer grant, and once again, he only has to be level 2 and basic, but if now like this person who now is crossing the barrier and going over to probationary,
On what?
now
He's still
we
probationary.
require, but we now require A.
Yes,
So
so
now
he
we're going to
has,
have to
he
pay for it
has,
to become A.
well, he's already,
We collected on that.
Brian Pilo, he's already finished his A class.
Did we pay for that while he was
No,
on the
we
Safer
paid for
grant?
that in
Okay, you
Vermont.
knew that question was coming.
Vermont paid that.
Okay,
Um,
you knew it was
But
coming.
he still has to get his New Hampshire
Yes,
A
to do the-
provider license.
yeah.
That
But we
He's-
recently
he's-
collected.
Now he's on a
more
timeline,
also.
now you have to get it.
Right, because he's now
Yeah,
going over to
right.
full-time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but that'll be on him.
But I just want to make sure that if another person had to come in that case and we had to pay for the A to get him from Safer standards to Northfield standards, that they don't get the A and it's like, okay, now I can go anywhere I want and jump ship to the next town over or the next town over or 2 towns over.
Yeah, we don't have a reciprocal agreement for
Okay.
A.
Okay.
But we pay for A for,
Yeah, and it's not as expensive anyways, but
no.
what is it, 14 or something like that?
1,700.
1,700, okay. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than medic.
That is true. A whole
So
lot cheaper.
you're saying we would not pay for that, get his A, unless he's full-time? Jumps up beyond,
Safer grant, they don't require it, and that was
okay,
one of the big
but
things.
we're
we
not gonna
brought-
pay for anybody that's,
So if
Requiring
somebody,
the money.
with any of the safer employees, we're not paying for them to go to any
okay,
schools.
that's what I wanna make sure.
Right, because.
Unless
that
we
comes
get a
out-
grant, unless it's grant funded.
Yeah, okay.
So we do pay for them to maintain their EMT card, because that's part of it.
Okay, yeah, that's
And
understandable.
so if there's any costs or overtime
CEUs
required
and
to
stuff.
maintain that EMT card, yes, we are paying for that,
Okay.
and we're covered for that.
To get them to their bare minimums of level 2 and EMT, that was a big push with going to this, is that we would not pay for anything above and beyond unless it's like being held in the in-house training or something where we brought the instructor in, and it didn't matter if we had 2 people, 5 people, or 10 people.
So I think one of them, there's a grant-funded swift water rescue
I
course.
figured you would.
And it doesn't cost us a penny. Go
Right.
ahead, take it.
Right, so, yeah.
The other thing is like, some of the safer employees currently are either in or going to take the A course and they're paying for it themselves.
Okay. I would hope that we don't reimburse it when they complete.
No,
I just very cautious because that's what we said to the public in the beginning is that,
no, that's on their own.
yeah, we were selling it to stay within the standard because that was a lot of the questions and the debates we had and we brought up in the beginning was
Yeah.
if they go above that, it's because we know the safer grant's going to be under the microscope in 3 years. So that was one of the selling things is that we were going to. So, okay.
Let's see. I think that's, I already told you, I already sent that out. Christian Perry, he got Pro Board Firefighter 1 certification. I think that's it from the report that I've already issued, unless you have any other questions.
When you starting the tower?
So, tower update, where is that in the agenda?
It wasn't.
Oh, okay, so I
Yeah,
got
sorry
an
to
email,
hear so.
I got the email
Oh, this is
today.
building permit.
The building permit was filed for. The tower design, all the steel and stuff is completed. The tower foundation is still to be determined since the soils are weak. And the owner of the tower has engaged a helical drilling, a company, helical drilling, to design and install the soil improvements. And they're coordinating with the engineer now. He's cut the purchase order for the equipment shelter for the fire department. He hasn't ordered the generator yet because he wants to talk to me to see about a local company doing it so he can have a local company service it.
Like cat?
Maybe too small for us.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's looking at 20 kW.
Yeah, that's,
I think
yeah.
I don't know if you guys make anything that's
No, unfortunately, we're starting to talk megs now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did like half the city of Boston one for 3 months.
Yeah. And that's what he has. And I know when I got, and they do have an electrical permit for the thing, but I remember when we did the tower on Shed Hill, they said this permit is a permit for everything, so I have to check with Northfield to say, do you issue a permit, or are you still waiting on the building permit? Because they did issue the electrical permit to AT&T for all the electrical work that needs to be done. That includes putting a new pole, telephone pole in the ground, south of the pole with all the transformers on it. It won't be in the way of any future possible expansion of Park Street, and then everything is underground straight into the service area.
So how close are you gonna come across the field with that pole?
Pole is going to be on the street.
So the pole's you're gonna come underground for that whole field along the edge of the
Right
property?
where the trees are, that's where it's going to be all underground.
So right at the edge of the property the whole way?
It's really not the edge of the property, but it goes all the way.
Before we get into the wetlands?
Yes, before you get into the wetlands. That would be more accurate, yes.
Okay.
Anything else on the chief's report? Chief's report? New business, starting pay.
Yes, so that's the next thing. So I guess I'm going to ask you a question first. What do you think is an appropriate starting salary for a firefighter EMT in this area of the state?
What's appropriate or what's getting paid locally, because around firefighters and EMT get paid crap.
So what do you think is appropriate?
I don't know what they are getting now off the top of my head. So I
I
could,
guesstimate they're getting about 19.
is it like 42 a year? I like to go for the year. Not Is it 42 a year?
Roughly,
Roughly.
a little less. It's a little less than
What
that.
about the benefits? What do the
Yeah.
benefits add up to? They see people overlook that. They only look at
Absolutely.
the money. The benefits are worth a lot of money.
Yes, it's usually two.
So you add
about
benefits on there,
twice.
what are you talking, 80? 75, 80?
Depending upon what they take, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you're talking 75, 80,000.
With benefits,
With the
absolutely.
benefits,
Yep.
yep.
Well, then throw in the uniform, it's another, we know it's another $5,000.
Yeah, but the uniform shirts and stuff doesn't go with them when they go. I mean, that's just a,
No, but it's a cost.
yes, it is a cost, and
I mean, we learned this, it's about $80,000. For
Yeah, that's
That-
about correct.
about $80,000 for, to hire one new employee.
because of turnout gear and all that, yes.
Yep. They're not gonna hire him without having turnout gear, I don't think. Here, go into that building.
Well,
in the turnout gear, you get a turnover. Yeah.
I mean, if John left the services, does he leave the turnout gear?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
They just take his name tag off and, or his name
it's just a little thing on the bottom.
So on the bottom there.
It's a
Velcro.
Velcro.
Okay.
Oh.
Snap Velcro.
Yep, just whip it off.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of them pasted onto the ceiling of people who have left their hill name
I'll have
things.
to go look next time we go.
That's down in the base, I've seen it.
Yep. Not everybody's, but some of them.
All right, so now we answered your question.
So I thought, and doing research, that we should be starting these folks at about $20 an hour.
So where are we starting them right now?
$17 and change.
$17.93.
17.93. Okay. Now that is a level 2 AEMT?
Yes.
Okay, so because I know you'll have, do you do different tiers for hazmat, for swift water and all that? You don't do,
The only incentive we have, other than rank, is if you're a paramedic,
Okay.
you get a stipend for that,
okay. So what is the medic stipend?
10%.
So 10% of it, so if the $20, it'd be $2
10%,
more
yes, 10%
Okay.
of whatever their,
hourly rate,
yes.
which, now do you have, I assume you have steps or longevity or some incremental?
So we have a 20-step wage schedule.
And step 1 is the 1793.
That's correct.
And what is your incremental climbs for like each step? Is there a percentage or
2.5%.
per
Like
step?
when annually we do, say, okay, give everybody a step, everybody gets a 2.5%.
The step from step 1 to step 2, however, is
It's
5%.
5%.
Okay, to get them
To get-
starting into a,
Right. And from there on, it's 2.5.
okay, so it's 5% for 1 to 2.
Is there a chart that you can have for us to show?
The wage scale?
Yeah.
Yes. We produce it every year after you guys vote on it.
We just can use it on our budget time.
So,
I'm just trying to not let us get so far behind where everybody else is.
Well,
Everybody else around here, I'm not saying everybody else, most folks are around the high 19s to the low 20s. My son just became a firefighter and he's in Epping, starting at $22.80 an hour.
the further down you go, it will.
It's close to the mass, so.
Yep, and that thing's over near Hampton and,
Exeter.
yeah, all that stuff, so there's a little bit more.
Is there, but I know you get like, I think it was Durham for, we've used it for examples for years where it's a, you know, they get their start and they leave, they get their start and they leave.
A feeder
Yeah,
district.
the feeder,
Yeah.
you know, it's like,
Because you get so low in the pay that it's like, okay, I'll go and get all my
Is there-
certifications and I'll jump, same with the school district.
do you have a chart, like, again, you have, I like charts to see how we compare.
Yeah, so like,
And I understand that they can, go- I mean, being a firefighter, one of the, I guess, the unique things is you can almost go anywhere in the state because, you know, most of the way the shifts work is it's a 24-hour shift. So you're not, you know, you can, like, I knew someone that lived in Northfield and they went, you know, just outside of Boston. It was one day.
You go down, you stay down there once we go, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so trying to get and keep the folks that we get here and train, which we do a very good job of training them,
Mhm.
is somewhat dependent upon benefits and salary. And when we're looking for candidates, like we've got 2 that we're gonna look at and see if they're worth interviewing, you know, for a job. But I just took a quick look on the first page of the state site for want ads. You got Campton Thornton's looking, Epping, where my kid is, they're still looking for more. Hooksett, Pittsfield, Newmarket, Auburn, Littleton, Wyndham, and Salem,
Yep.
all looking for career firefighters today. And you can see that's pretty,
Is
that
Laconia
spreads the
on it?
whole state.
No.
I thought Laconia, I thought I saw a post on Facebook, they were looking to they were looking to hire.
Well, it wasn't on the state website
Oh, okay.
when I looked at it today. I'm just thinking,
So
I think $20 an hour is a fair wage for starting folks. You can go to the warehouse, the Walmart warehouse in Raynham, not Raynham.
Raymond.
Raymond, yes, and you get $20 an hour with benefits. You can go to Eptam, they're advertising right now. If you're of a certain, willing to sign a thing that they'll send you to school, they'll train you, and you're gonna come out making $60,000 a year in your first year. And I think the job that we would ask these folks to do has a lot of responsibility, and we're not paying them appropriately. These are the folks that, when people are in trouble, they're relying on these guys and gals to do the right thing, and we do the right thing. But I think it would be appropriate if we come up to a level that most folks around here are paying on an hourly wage, and that's starting around $20 an
So
hour.
let me ask you a question. So they make $17.50 an hour, so you're gonna give them another $2.50 an hour. What's that do to the people that you already got? Makes them, well, he's starting out this here, we're
Well,
gonna,
you would have to appropriately, move
well, you'd have to
everything
do
up.
everybody.
Yes, you would.
So that, you know,
I
I'm willing, I would be willing to do that on one condition. If we could do away with a lot of the overtime, cut the overtime in half. And how you did it, how you do it, I have no idea, but there must be a way to do that. Or we take away benefits. I mean, the state has put us in a bad position from the retirement system. I mean,
Yes.
they picked up more of the retirement system. They're passing it on, and it's gonna get worse, trust me,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
gonna get worse.
There's a bill every year that gets
Yeah.
filed to the state to resume their portion of paying
Right.
the pension system, but
And it
it
affects
fails.
everybody.
Well, it's come close a few times, but depending upon the majority in the House and Senate, where it is and who's in the office and all that kind of stuff. Right now, it's not gonna pass anything.
And you talk, and the other thing, you talk about, you know, you talk about the Walmart.
Yep.
It's starting at $19. Yes, they do. But you don't get, after 20 years, you don't get to retire from Walmart and get a pension like they do. I mean, they have good benefits.
They do.
They probably don't have
They
the
contribute
insurance.
to their 401k
Yeah.
plans or whatever those things
Yeah.
are
But
called.
they're eligible for retirement at 25 years currently.
Yep.
It's probably in a year or two, it'll be 30 years at the rate it's going because of,
Yeah, they keep raising the
yeah.
amount of years you have to contribute.
I'd want to see what it's going to cost the taxpayers.
Yeah, so
I mean,
I can tell you roughly.
but I want to see. I got to see it in paper.
Yes.
When I see numbers, I got to see them in paper. I got to see what it's going to cost. I want to see how we compare to other places. Because when you say about McDonald's and Walmart and things like that, you know, I understand people are going to leave for 50 cents more an hour in that world, but in the firefighting world,
You have
You
to
know,
look
it-
at total compensation.
well,
Which
not
includes
just
benefits,
not
too.
just compensation, quality of life.
Yes.
Quality of life is to a firefighter, I imagine, is a big deal. You know, if they're happy with the way their life is, you know, they only have to drive a couple miles to work every day. You know, and okay, if someone up here wants to go to Epping, well, you know, geez, if I have a busy shift, I'm going to be driving an hour and I'm going to go home tired. You know, there's an increase of car accident. You know, there's all these things that go through my head.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I relate to. I mean, I'm in the private sector. You're in the private sector. You work in the public sector.
Contracted.
Right, but I pull into work and I get my iced tea every morning, and, you know, the McDonald's and next door where I work, they got a sign, $14 an hour, and we're not paying that, but somehow we're getting good employees now to come in the door now that they've stopped handing out money. You know, we're getting employees, but some of it's the benefits. You know, we have certain benefits that McDonald's doesn't have, like a travel benefit, like you can go and stay away somewhere for, you know, $45 a night if you do it right. You know, and so there's a quality of life that these people are, that the firefighters are experiencing. But I just want to see it on paper so that I can, you know, when a taxpayer comes up to me and says, you know, geez, you know, you just upped it from 80,000, let's just say to 85,000 a year. Yeah, okay, maybe it's $1 per resident, if you will, 5,000 people. But, you know, I'm having a hard time making my ends meet. You know, maybe they were unemployed, maybe their business, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's a whole different world right now in terms of everything because, you know, people are working at home, they're moving.
Moving here.
Yeah, they are moving here. I just, a friend from high school, they now live on Lake Winnipesaukee. I said, how come you're living, you were down in Massachusetts, they were near, you know, they were in Lowell.
Yep.
You know, now you're living in Alton on the lake. She goes, our office isn't reopening. We're not going back to the office. We're staying home. Well, I look for a nice life, quality of life.
Yeah.
It comes down to that.
Well, I know that's one of the things that the Lakes region tries to, they
We
advertise
do
it.
offer it, you know, but when I worked in Waterloo Valley earlier this year, I mean, the quality of life. That's why all these people from Massachusetts came to send their kids to school. They went from a school that had like 19 people last year to a school with over 60 this year. Because they're all living in their nice, comfortable, quality of life homes.
And working from home.
Working from home. Oh, yeah, I can't work from home.
Neither can I.
I wouldn't have a job if I did.
Here, look at these curtains on the camera.
It's interesting to see where it all levels out.
Well, I know the consumer price index is up 5.4% over last year.
Oh, yeah. Everything's more expensive. But, you know, price of wood is coming down.
Yeah, the price of wood is coming down, so.
So now you're gonna start seeing your
More buildings
residential construction.
come back up.
But, you know, but we have to think of the residents of Tilton and Northfield, you know. Okay, is Northfield gonna get more residences? Is it gonna be more burden on our house, you know? Because Tilton doesn't have a terrible amount of land left to build on, but Northfield, I think, still has quite a bit, you know. Okay, how's that gonna affect, but you also have to think of the other towns, because if they have a big building surge, you know, what's that gonna do to us? Because they may not be able to react, maybe it's gonna be more of a burden on our services, because we're gonna have to do more mutual aid calls, and I just digressed.
So just a couple. You know that I fully support the firefighters, and I definitely want them to have the best way they can. But as Eric said, we also serve the taxpayer, so it's finding that happy balance.
Oh, I understand fully.
Yeah.
I
But
really
it
do,
also-
and I'm
No.
bringing it up.
Yeah.
And
So towards that, because I'm not against it, and that's where I just wanted to make it clear that we do support and all that. I'd like what Eric brought up of the comparison of definitely what's around us. I can tell you, like the school district, right now, that is a feeder institution as well. So we live it all the time. I mean, 1 or 2 years, and then they move on to a higher pay. So what we went with what is the mean for the area? So that's why if you could get a comparison, you don't want to be at the bottom because you're going to lose someone every year. You don't want to be at the top because then the pitchforks are getting sharpened by the taxpayers. So finding that happy mean in the middle that offset.
And that's what I've always said when I've brought this conversation up over the years. Just want to be like in the middle of where everybody else is so that we can be competitive. Because if when we
Absolutely.
start sliding to that bottom end, become non-competitive.
Correct. You're going to lose
And
everyone we
like
train up.
any business, if you're not competitive, you're going backwards.
Well, to counteract his thing, you have more people losing and it takes longer time to replace them because we're lower, you're gonna have more overtime,
Yep, absolutely.
you know? But it's, I had a thought and I lost it.
Well, I think an important thing to do is we've all ridden down the road and seen flashing signs, come fly with me for $25 an hour. I think it bears watching of what's going on in the world.
Yep.
It bears watching.
But some of the other things that your department can offer and has, you have a very high level of training program, from what I'm seeing and things like that. That is a selling point.
It is, absolutely.
Because someone who wants to get, you have the people who want to be in Boston. They want to be busy, busy, busy. And then they get later in their career, and you know what? A nice, quiet town. I go out 2 or 3 calls a day they're happy with. But offering the training and stuff up, and yes, people may come here and see us as that feeder, but we may get them for 5 or 6 years before they move on to somewhere else. But that's a marketing tool also, is that training and what we're trying to do with all this stuff. I mean, right now, we're just behind the curve because we're getting destroyed from so many directions right now.
It seems like in the past, it seemed like for a while that we were pretty stable.
Stable.
And now it seems,
No, we're not.
so our,
We're
well, it
teetering
seems
on
like
it.
in the last year, we've lost 3 or 4
Yeah.
firefighters, which to me seems like a lot when you
That
only
is
have.
a lot.
It is,
It is.
It's a,
For a
I'm
small
not gonna
department.
get, I'm not doing math, that's 25% of your staff.
It is.
But are you doing exit interviews with these guys?
Oh, yeah.
So, are they saying it's pay? Are they saying that's why they're leaving?
It's a lot of things. Pay is one thing. Pay is always an issue, it seems, for everybody, for one reason or another. It may not be the top issue. Some folks move because situations within their family have changed, and they have to adjust to that, and that means they have to leave here and try and get a job somewhere else. Other times is, this isn't just exactly what I'm looking, your situation, what you have here isn't really what I thought it would be, so I'm going to try somewhere else. I can't say that. I think we're a great place to work, honestly.
I would hope you would think that.
Oh, no, you know what, I tell you if I didn't think it.
Well, I would hope you would be changing it if you didn't think
That's
it.
that's one of the things. So ever since I've come here, I've always tried to, let's see if we can be the best we can be
Within our limitations.
within our limitations. And this is just just the conversation that we have to have to do that.
Is this like a fresh out of school firefighter? That's what they, I mean, if someone comes in from another town, that's not what they're coming, if they have experience.
So, because we do not have a collective bargaining agreement, I do have the flexibility, consulting with you guys, to be able to stop folks at a higher step.
Yeah.
You know, and that's generally what we've done in the past, if they come with experience. But, you know, like, if somebody, say somebody was in Belmont for 6 months and didn't like it there, and then applied to us, they're not gonna get anything, they're gonna start at the bottom.
No, but if someone was in Manchester maybe, and they have 2 or 3 years experience. And
So the last person that we hired with experience was Ryan O'Hara,
Yeah.
a paramedic from Bedford.
So you gave the 10% alone.
Instead of starting at step 1, I think he was at step 3 or 4. And it was kind of like a negotiation, you know, we really needed another paramedic, and he fell into our lap for the right price, and, discussed it with you guys at the time, and we gave him the right price, and he's staying, and he likes it here. But he lives way up in Franconia or someplace.
Yeah.
Again, it's-
So I don't, how long is he really gonna stay here because he likes it here, or is he gonna
Has he been
get
here
a
for
job
a
in
winter
Conway
yet?
or something like that?
Has he been here for a winter?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so he's driven through the notch in the snowstorm.
Well, no, because they just purchased the house in
So-
Franconia.
so-
But he grew up there.
The chance of that, he's not gonna.
So he'll be in Littleton soon.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Why would you drive down here for?
Well, again, if it's for him, like Bedford is, I would imagine, fairly busy, and it would probably compare to that. Littleton's not going to compare to that.
So Bedford does about 3,500 calls a year. We're doing around 2,000 calls a year. Littleton,
A lot less.
a lot less.
Well,
Yeah,
right,
it's-
but if in Bedford, okay, they may do 3,500 calls a year. They have more people per shift, so he may only not be, but here, he's like getting that,
Right.
he's getting
Your
more
higher
runs.
ratio of calls.
He's getting more
Oh,
experience.
absolutely. Yeah, Bedford, what do they have, like 12 people on duty?
Yeah, but I think some of your other towns too are having the same, I mean, it's not.
Yeah, they all are.
They all are.
So
Yeah.
all the other towns around here are looking to hire as well and
Sure,
increase the workforce because the workload here
In
is.
Franklin, they don't, what, they got one paramedic now, maybe two more.
I don't know what they have for
I think they
paramedics,
only
but
got-
their department size is about the same as ours, and I know they're going for a safer grant to hire additional people. I know Plymouth is going for a safer grant. I know
Busy, everyone's busy.
Epping, the deputy chief called me the other day, says, I know you got a safer grant. What did you do? How'd you do it?
That was the biggest thing, is that you were able to break through, and now everyone's jumping on board where before they wouldn't have, because they never thought that the money would come out.
So Hudson's got a safer grant, Bedford got a safer grant right after Ryan O'Hara left. And before that, Pelham, they got a safer grant as well. And I think Salem's getting one. Not 100% sure on that, but Salem's is for eight folks. So,
So I would say first things first is
so this
data
is,
and stuff.
yep, I just want to bring it up and let you know that,
Bring the data for comparison to look at, and
So you have that for next month?
yeah,
We've already started reaching out.
yep, to other departments to find out. They're reaching out to us too.
right, because everyone's in the same boat, and they're
Mhm.
just trying to. I mean, I do have concerns, as Paul said, the benefit increase, the hourly increase. I mean, it's
So that insurance gonna go up every year.
yeah.
All these things go up.
Absolutely.
Well, looking at the insurance thing, though, one of the best things we did was change our insurance thing so that if you can take the buyout, we've been saving money because we're paying them a little bit more to take the buyout than what we used to.
But right now, but in a year or two from now, things could
It
fluctuate.
could change too.
Yeah,
But-
you have
But
to
our
plan for the
buyout
worst.
fluctuates with our cost as well. It's not a fixed rate, it's fluctuates. It's gone up and it's gone down. So,
Yeah,
I
no
think
matter
that
what,
was-
budgets are gonna keep going up just for the sheer cost of inflation, everything, the wages. It's not gonna go back down.
like
and
right now,
benefits and all that.
fuel's very expensive right now compared to where it was a year ago. $1 more a gallon for gasoline, and diesel's about the same.
Yep.
So,
So stop bringing the engines to the calls with the ambulance.
All right, anything else on the starting pay?
that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Old business, Safer Grant Continuation Committee.
Okay.
We've had one person,
For the safer grant?
Yeah.
who's shown interest,
Scott,
Scott Lewandowski.
Oh, nice.
What's a good time, like, you had put something out, maybe in June, and it was just a small sample, but to start, or do we wait a year to do that, or do we
No,
do
no,
it by
start
before the
now.
end of the year?
Sooner rather than later,
yeah.
Okay, all right,
because that's gonna take a while, I think.
yeah.
Did we post it on the Northfield webpage and the Tilton webpage?
Posted it on the fire department webpage.
Should we also send it out to, because I know Northfield sends out a weekly or monthly
I think
notice
it's
of.
monthly now.
Oh, the newsletter?
They do,
The town
they do
newsletter?
a weekly one with like minutes and stuff, and then once a month, sometimes twice, depending, like, they did one for the trash because that was a
Right.
big deal,
That, yeah,
but they do
I
it
think
once a
it
month.
still
Is that a
is.
big deal?
It's a painful one. If you have any doubts, I'd just go over by,
My house.
over by Shed Road and
That's
Bay
my
Hill.
house, yeah, I read some.
That's your trash can?
No, that's not mine. I can buy
What?
The trash can will explain it all.
it. The sign's up there now.
All right, Now I'm gonna go up there, because I wanna see.
Someone expressed how they thought about it.
Yeah.
And I can't repeat it
Yeah,
here.
it's not that great. I mean, they should have never done that.
Freedom of speech.
But could we post it where there hasn't been, get it put on those pages?
Yeah, we could do that.
Just to try and
Well,
drive
I think
it?
it should be a post from the fire department, and then it's shared to those places.
Yep, the link or
Yeah,
talking about, we're still looking for that, and a link that can draw them to our page.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll do that.
Yeah, if we could send that out to Stephanie, and I don't know who it is for, or is it Stephanie you normally contact, or do you?
Stephanie
Amy
is the one you contact
For Northfield?
for Northfield.
Yeah, there isn't really, Tim does, there is a one, I have one that I've kind of started, it's called What's Up Tilton, and I just passed, like, some people.
Well, Northfield has the notice that they put out for
Yeah,
all of our
but
stuff.
Tilton doesn't have that yet. They do it with the tax bill, so you wouldn't get another one until
December,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But,
And there's a few other pages, I'll look at it
I can bring
because,
up at the.
You guys can share them to wherever you want.
that's what I mean, is I'll pull it from our page, the link, and I'll put it on Tilton Northfield's Talking, Northfield, yeah, there's a whole bunch more.
Northfield residents only. Franklin, Tilton,
Hello Northfield, yeah, there's a few of them,
Hello,
Franklin,
Northfield.
Tilton, Northfield,
Oh,
so, okay. So,
all right.
start flooding that out.
Fire station building committee, same thing, that's gonna be.
No, well, we probably should put it out, but there's all, you said there's been more
Yeah, we have,
interest in it. How many people, now that you get your list?
7.
Okay.
That's including, and again, it depends on, if so-and-so isn't on it, I don't want to be on it. Type of
Yes.
situation.
Yep.
So, yeah.
so how do we wanna proceed? Do we wanna bring these people into a meeting before our next meeting, just to have them so that the committee can get going?
I think you have to appoint people.
You
to
have,
the
yeah, you
committee,
need to
Yeah.
appoint
and
them.
let the committee form
Yeah.
a chair and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
So I think,
And then you have to come up with a charge for the
Yes.
committee.
Yeah,
So that,
so we
They're
really
not
need to
going-
build
because
the
it's not gonna be
charter.
the same charges we had last time.
Correct. Last one was just the feasibility
Yeah,
of doing it. This one is a design of, and give guidance of
yep.
if you're gonna use that
And then we
property or
have
not.
to get the architect involved in that.
So the architect is probably gonna be the one designing.
Unless they do a design build, because the problem is the architect was going one way and it's like, that's where the guidelines need to come down, what you need to do. Are you trying to do the bottom barrel where they're stacked in bunks 6 high, or are they gonna have individual room each? How far for the day, what you're gonna put into the space for, you got your apparatus bay, you got your operation, administration wing, you got your dorm wing, and then you have all your other stuff. How much of that do we want in there?
That's a good question, I mean.
So, a couple of committees have addressed those already
And
and came up with what they thought was appropriate.
Yeah.
Are they gonna use that material or?
Well, I think that
all
they
new
have
material?
part of it, but the problem with what the other stuff was also how high the cost went.
Yeah.
And as soon as the cost goes back to the public of that high, the answer's no. So it's finding that cost benefit, pros and cons wave of trying to find where that big need
I
is.
think a lot of that ends up being in the type of construction and
Yes.
materials used and stuff like that.
I will,
Well, you had police station.
so
experience.
I will tell you this, that the construction manager company, whatever you want to call it, Milestone, told one of I forget what position he had, but he said if we had done that this year, instead of it being a $5 million station, it would have been a $10 million station. And that's purely because of all the costs.
Right,
So-
correct. With the wood right now, everything is done.
Well, I don't think the wood's gonna bottom back down to where it was, it's gonna be somewhere in the middle because, and so it is gonna affect the cost, and every time we wait, it's gonna get more and more
Yeah.
expensive.
We need to get it done.
And, you know, there's things that need to be, I mean, you need to have certain things, you need to have, you know, kitchen facilities, you need to have bathrooms, you need to have space for the store the equipment, you need, you know, you need offices, you need this, and on the police building study committee, like, we worked with the architect on that, you know, we, you know, they had, obviously, they've built, you know, stations before, and they kind of give you a general layout, and they know what's gonna fit there, it's just kind of, how do you move it, and, you know, do you want a pull-through station? Okay, no, you don't, okay, then, or maybe you do, I don't know, you know, do you want the ambulances over here, or, you know, I don't know, whatever else is involved in the station, I'm
Yeah,
not,
that's some of the stuff we talked about in the last committee
Yeah.
and stuff about, I mean, you want to be able to get from tone to truck time. You want to cut that down because then that's going to cut down on response time of truck to road. Right now, our guys are going from a second-story building down a very dangerous stairway, throwing their bunker gear on before they even getting into the equipment, and single story is one of the things we talked about, because when you go a second level, you're throwing an extra 20,000 on per stair. Or was it 20,000?
10,000 square feet or?
No, I meant for each stairs. Was it 20,000 per stairs or 20,000 just accessibility to a
Well,
second
you're
floor
gonna have
with
to
two
have an elevator
stairway
if you
and
do
an
it.
elevator?
Yeah, an elevator.
Right,
And-
so it was like 20,000 was gonna go in just to go to second story before you even get into usable square footage.
Because it's stairs.
Right, steel stairs, probably concrete and all that. So, single story,
well, like,
which is what we can do now.
At the fire station, at the police station, we had the option of take the attic space, for example, for storage, or do we build it so that you could almost just, you know, pluck the roof off and build up? Or, you know, there was a lot of discussion about that, but again, it came down to cost, but, you know, we built it, I mean, the plan was, you know, okay, this is a 20-year building, but we wanted a 50-year building. You know, we wanted to build it for 50 years. Did we build it perfectly? Pretty damn close. You know, we don't know, like, you know, what's gonna happen in 10 years. Equipment's gonna change and all these things.
Yeah.
Which we-
That's what we're dealing with right now is the equipment size has changed, but the openings to fit them in hasn't.
No, exactly, but, okay, but, you know, it's, and maybe, you know, maybe we plan ahead, but, you know, maybe it's, okay, what's the traditional open, 14 feet?
14 foot is now.
Yeah, well, maybe we say, you know what, let's just plan for the future, we'll put 16 foot, and what's it cost? I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm just using it as an example, but, you know, again, planning for the future, not just right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's built for horse and buggy, and we're using Cummins engines and whatnot.
I think it would be good to just post it a little bit more,
Yeah,
like we're gonna flood
yeah,
that we're looking for that. And then next month,
Well,
review the candidates
yeah,
and come up with a charter is a suggestion.
yeah.
Or charge,
The charge, okay, whatever, yeah, okay, so
or charge as, you can
Yep.
charge them with more than one task.
guidance, direction. Something of that. Yeah. Okay,
All right,
so we'll put that on next month's agenda. But
yeah,
we'll,
we're already filled up next month. That's good.
but also, but you already have 7, which is a good start.
Well-
Last time we had 9, I think it
9.
was.
Did that include we had a firefighter on there? We
Oh, I
had-
thought it was.
That does, the 7 does include a call member and a full-timer,
It does,
yes.
excellent, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we definitely want the diverse feedback, and that's what we had last time, which, I mean, it seemed like a good committee. Even some of the naysayers out there said it's a good committee, so I mean.
Yep.
Okay. So,
Well, yeah. All right. Next is Tilton and Northfield Water District.
So a lot of that you guys already know. You know that the impetus of this was that we didn't pass the budget for fire hydrants, back and forth with bills, late bills, notices that they're going to terminate the water. They finally did terminate the water. We went to court, got a restraining order, made them turn the water and the fire hydrants back on.
Uncover the fire.
Uncover the fire hydrants too. Then there was a hearing on that temporary order, which was
July
2nd. July 2nd.
Yeah, I heard about that after the fact.
And,
unfortunately.
so after that hearing, everything stayed the same for them. The judge said, I'll take it under consideration, I'll issue a final thing, and he didn't say when. And I asked our attorney, he says it could be a week, it could be 3 months, doesn't matter. In the meantime, the water district filed a petition to dismiss the whole thing.
Mhm.
And our attorney now is preparing a response to their petition for dismissal. That's where we are right now. Besides the fact that I asked you guys about turning the 2-inch feeds into domestics, and which I'll run through the lawyers, see if that's even appropriate to ask right now,
Right.
along with, let's sit down and let's work this out, rather than keep going to court and costing everybody money.
Has the lawyer said that to them yet?
That,
Still sit back down at the table.
yes, in court,
Do they have-
in writing, a number of times.
So it was in court?
Yes,
I didn't hear that part.
we definitely explained that to the Judge O'Neill.
That we've been trying to be proactive and.
Yes. They say we weren't, but we showed them in paper, yes, we are.
Thank you.
All right.
Now,
How can they say we were? It weren't up to.
I don't know.
I don't know, I don't
But you
understand.
publicly agreed that you should pay
water usage.
water usage.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
Back for this whole thing started.
Yeah, absolutely. Water usage, I mean, it's a fair, it's
That's why we
the
put it as a
maintenance.
warrant article.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly. And there's your other sign that you approved it because you put it in
yeah.
as a warrant article. Now it's,
For the public, and we answer to the public.
public said no.
Yeah, they're the ones that said no.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not
It's
the
like
bad
we're
guys
getting
here.
punished because the public said,
Right.
That's,
You're not the
that's
bad
how
guys
it's treating
here.
us, you know? But at any rate, that's out there in public in writing that we wish to continue to negotiate or renegotiate or come up with something. And their written response to us was, we're not inclined to do that right now.
yeah, they're worried about losing 126,000. And I don't blame them for
More
that.
than now,
You know what's gonna, it's,
198 now.
no.
Well, they,
Well, yeah, they changed the rates on us too. After the first
they
thing, so.
would probably say, if you give us 126, we'll stop everything right now. Because they're worried
Yes.
about
So we can't
on their
give them
operating
126.
budget. I mean, we can, but that's what they're concerned too, and I respect their position. They're worried about their operating budget as well. But that's where somehow you have to meet in the middle. And the public has told us, I went to their meeting, the public didn't tell them otherwise. And that's where I have a concern, is the 91A request we put out, what we got back, there has been very little discussion about what their actions are of bagging the hydrants, shutting off the department. So they have failed to meet the 91A request, because that should not have been done in non-public, saying we're going to shut off the station and bag it.
They're gonna say they probably noticed us, that they were gonna do with the bag language.
No, we did a 91A request,
Yes,
which means your minutes, your videos, everything, we want copies of. And they failed to do so. And their
do you think
minutes,
they had a commissioners meeting where they said to their superintendent over there, it's time to shut everything off and bag the hydrants?
I think, either that or else their superintendent is pretty gutsy.
Someone made the decision.
Somebody made a decision.
Right,
yes.
and I have a feeling that there's probably phone calls or emails saying, do it. I don't think the superintendent would,
Do that on us.
right, because of the consequences. So I think the 91A, first off, we know they didn't complete it because there's no talk about doing that stuff. So that's failure to disclose when it was requested by the lawyers. So the whole thing is, and I'm glad that it's on video for the public to know that we're trying and that there's failure to comply on certain areas. And I just wish more public was aware of what was going on because they don't have public guidance telling them how to run theirs like we do. They had 13 people or something like that attend their meeting and vote on the water district's.
And it's only the users that can vote.
Correct, because I went to that meeting and I was not allowed to speak at all.
So, even though the fire district is a user of the water, we can't have a say at their meeting?
I couldn't because I couldn't represent the commissioners. Now, if we probably said that because we're a customer, we're designating the chief or the chair to go and speak, that would probably be more appropriate. Same with the school district, same with the town hall and all that.
So if we created
If we said we
a
delegate,
liaison to the water department?
well, for the meeting, if we had made a motion and it's like, you can speak on our behalf.
Yeah.
But when I went there, literally I went over to the register and John came over, oh, you can't get a card because you're not on the line. He immediately came over. That's how fast it came through. And then the moderator literally spoke up. And remember, to even speak at the meeting, you have to hold your card. There was like 13 or so people there.
Ask the permission of the body to speak. And then
Yes.
they have to take a vote onto whether to allow you to speak or not.
Very true.
Did that
I
happen?
didn't push it that far.
No.
I still stayed for the meeting, but literally that small amount of people made the decision for the entire water district. And the hydrants was never brought up. So it is the commissioners making the decision on this whole matter without their public input. We have had public input into this, that their rate is too high.
So, just to rehab, they shut our water off, they shut our hydrant off
They
on
shut-
Park Street.
They shut hydrants.
And then, right, I know they shut the one off outside of Park Street.
Bunch of them,
Then we started bagging.
they start bagging.
How many bag?
We're aware of 16 or 18. I don't know how many they did, but we're aware of those.
And was anything else shut off that we know of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
They didn't tell us, they didn't notify us or anything, the bags just started showing up. Or, we noticed actually, Deputy Hall noticed the bags on West Main Street when he was coming this way to talk to Deputy Joubert about something. He goes, hey, do you know the bag in front of the high school's, the fire hydrant in front of the high school's all bagged up? And the Deputy Joubert said, no, this is, was it, I think we're in court or something, when this was going on, trying to get the court order.
Yeah, it was before.
So we only know the one that possibly got shut off.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
Again.
yeah, we were getting the emergency restraining order.
It was June 25th that they did it, or 24th.
Yeah.
The Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, so 23rd, 24th, 25th, something like that. And then on the 25th, we got our court injunction, and then a week later, we got
Yeah, so,
I mean, and it's very clear and was made clear that, you know, in the event that we, for an emergency purpose, needed water, we have legal access to it.
yes.
Any body of water, whether it's your pond or the lake or.
Swimming pool, doesn't matter.
But we did not have access in front of the hydrant. That area was put at risk.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Downtown Tilton was put at risk. The fire hydrants over here, over there. were
They
shut
made a
off.
very public show of the ones they bagged.
Right.
Chestnut was, the ones at the bottom of Chestnut were shut off.
Yeah, there were a couple of them.
Oh, so they were
Yes, Cedar.
shut off.
Yeah, well, they were bagged.
Bagged.
The only one that I actually witnessed them unbagging was the one at Park Street, and I watched them put the valve gate into the ground and turn it on. That's the, now, all the others were bagged, whether they were actually shut off or not, I have no idea.
They were shut
But I know if you're driving, if you're
I
going to
don't
a
know.
fire and you come to a fire hydrant, it's bagged, are you gonna stop there?
No, and that's, you know, Chief, that's always been one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
What does the bag mean? It should have a label on it.
Well,
Out of service,
Yep.
not for use.
NFPA requires that if you have a bag over the fire hydrant, NFPA says that hydrant is out of service.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was one, I guess by Cumberland Farms up in the Weirs. I went by it and it had like, it just looked like shrink wrap around it. And
Well, and again, what does that mean? And then I sat and waited for my wife to come out of Market Basket one day, and Deputy Joubert and I had a discussion about it. There's half a bag, because the top of it got tore off, laying on the ground around the hydrant. What does that mean?
Yep.
What does that mean? I can see it, I can get to it, Is it in service, is it out of service? So, I mean, we need to maintain it, or who's ever doing the maintenance to it.
So,
Well, that's another issue, the shoveling and all that we dealt with. Because there's no set
the
requirement
water,
for us to
the
be
water
shoveling
district has a policy of letting us help them shovel the hydrants. I guess that's what I would call it.
Yeah.
Well, but is there a requirement that they have them accessible? I mean, I don't know.
Fair question.
They have to provide them, but do they have to maintain the accessibility? I don't know.
think
I
they
know
have to
that we've
comply with
always-
There are certain regulations that they must.
And
I'm
maybe,
not sure.
and what's the reasonable amount of time for that to happen? And I
Right.
know firemen don't like waiting. You know, we want to make
can't.
sure, you know,
can't.
that they're accessible.
Yep.
And
Because if you don't have them accessible and that it's a one-time oops where it's right here in that hydrant. I mean, yeah, you have your backups and your tertiary options, but you can't, the catastrophic potential of the risk assessment,
Mhm.
it's not likely to happen, rarely gonna happen, but if it does, the risk potential is so much higher than
Correct. Mm.
So right now, we're just waiting to, and
the
you're
hands of the
gonna
courts.
approach on that option,
Yep.
so we did move that part at least.
All right. Anything else on the water district?
Nothing I want to talk about.
All right. Review the
I was gonna say
minutes.
that too.
Review the minutes of June 22nd, the public minutes. Everyone have a chance to review them?
I did a little bit earlier, I'm finishing just now.
I don't remember, I did look at them, but I don't remember anything jumping out at me.
Yeah. We talked about the COVID protocols within the station. We talked about Lake Street Mutual Fire meeting, towns of Tilton and Northfield. The mass policy was discussed, Park Street Tower, private-public partnerships. Yeah, sure. Trying to,
Yeah, but get involved with that.
yep, Deputy Dubert was working that one. Change the September commissioners meeting because someone is unavailable.
And if I told you why, you'd hold it against me.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. You can have the meeting without me, because I will not be able to participate.
And then we had the earlier non-public portion of it because of the talking with council. And that was, yeah, that was pretty much it.
All right.
I'm good with, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the non-public as written.
I'll second it.
Motion is second, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. June 22nd, 2021, non-public 1 and 2.
Do you have papers of those? There you go. You can have them back after too.
And if you can, move it down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Description, there we go.
Oh, yeah, it was June 22nd. That was an emergency meeting, wasn't it?
Well, it's a mid,
Mid-month
because
meeting,
we needed to do some.
Oh, yeah, that's right, we had 2 meetings last week.
yes, last month it was.
It's so funny that they say one thing, but their actions said something different.
Did you sign these? No.
No.
No,
No,
we just have to approve them.
And you want to, release second?
Yeah, so make a motion, unseal the second.
Those were never sealed.
Oh. Oh, yeah, look at that, well.
Description. And disposition.
You need to make a motion to keep those
Okay.
on the
if
first
you
one.
want it sealed.
I'll make a motion, we keep the minutes of non-public session number 1 of June 22nd sealed until the matter, as the matter is.
Until it's resolved.
Until it's resolved.
I'll second it.
Motion is second. Any other discussion?
I was gonna argue it, but until the matter is resolved, I can agree to.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We have a motion to approve these minutes then? I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, non-public session 1 and 2 of June 22nd.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Discussion. Non-public sessions 2, do we need to seal or not because of the public names?
There are no public names on those.
So it's just what's here, not the actual
That's it.
manifest that we looked at. Okay, well, we're just sealing this. Got it. All right, that's what I wanted to clarify.
That's what we're releasing.
Yep.
Nobody sees anything else
Okay,
because it's,
right, because it's someone that adversely affected, right?
right.
Yep, okay. That's good.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Do we skip the manifest and go into these other? Oh, because I'm the only one, it looks like you guys signed the manifest, so I can sign it afterwards.
Okay.
So I'll skip over that. Non-public session, RSA 91A, 3, 2C, review.
Oh, we need
disposition,
another sheet.
And employee matters. Do we have 2?
You want 2 sheets?
Probably.
No? 1 sheet?
Are they the same category?
No, they're the same kind.
category, different subjects.
But if it's the same category, then we can go into non-public for the same
Oh, wait a minute,
category.
it's,
Yeah.
well, wait, is the employee matters related more to A, dismissal, promotion, compensation, or discipline?
No, it's really safe.
It's safe.
Okay,
Then you can use 1 sheet for both then, as long as they both fall in the same category.
okay,
I would say so.
all right.
If it was different categories, then we probably have to do
What's
different.
today's date?
Right.
So I'll make a motion to enter non-public session. At 7:52 PM, under RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2C. Matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant.
Second.
Seconded by John. All those, roll call vote, Paul Ozier,
Yes.
John Silly,
Yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes. Stop the recorder. The time being 7:52. Stop.
I did there.
You did video already? Nope.
Right. I stopped it. Oh, we had a roll call exit non-public. Oh,
You have
I
to make a
hit-
motion.
Hold on, I have to hit this. I hit record again.
Yes.
Make a motion to leave non-public session
And
at 8:26 PM.
You want this one?
Second.
I'll second
All right.
it. It's almost my bedtime.
Roll call vote. Paul Ozier.
Yes.
John Silly.
Yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes. Motion passed.
Just want to throw a twist in on this
So
one.
the public session reconvened at 8:26 PM. Do we need to seal these minutes?
We talked names, so we should probably.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to seal the minutes
Yep.
of the non-public session
I'll second that.
as the divulgence of this information would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
Yep.
Roll call vote to seal. Paul Ozier,
Yes.
John Silly,
Yes.
Eric Pyrie, yes. Motion passed. And what was that? Manifest, I'm the only one that I think I have to sign the manifest. You guys have signed those. And next meeting is August 10th.
Correct.
I'll just give you all of that. I don't know what's what. Is there any other matters to come before this board?
I don't know.
All right,
I make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
motion and a second. Wait for that. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:28. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Paul,
everybody.
You always had quick meetings. I don't know what's going on now.
The rule was, when we said let's start at 5:30, that means we get out earlier.
2 hours.